So hello and welcome back to Gearhead Geeks, where in this video we are going to go on ahead and we are going to do the final details of getting this thing ready for prime time. We've ridden it, we know it runs good, but there's still a few more things we need to do. I just got in the brake light switch. I plugged it in, but it's not plugged into the electronics yet, so we have to check that. The headlight brackets are just kind of sitting on there, or they need to be bent so that they can line up exactly with the headlight. They just need a little bend, and I've got a bending brake. We'll use that. And then just run around the bike and make sure everything works. And then we do need to make sure that, well, not make sure, but we are going to make some side covers here. I've already cut out some pieces of plastic, and they're just in roughly the generally the right shape. I think they'll look okay. There's some more cutting that has to be done on it, but we're gonna have to weld on a bracket. So there's a few things that need to get done before this thing's ready for prime time. Most everything else is up and running and good. So let's do the finishing touches so that we can go on ahead and maybe get this thing ready for a bike night. So we'll be, let's get to it. So the first thing I need to do is we'll aim this thing at the headlight, and everything just kind of loosely put together at the moment. So we'll take the headlight down, and there's two wires in here. There's a blue, it's a blue-red, I believe, or no, it's just blue, okay, and brown. And these are our brake light wires. And the brake light switch got plugged into here. I just plugged it in and I put a zip tie on it. But here's the wires that go into it. So I got to feed them through the hole in the back. And once those are fed through, then I can plug them in, and we can probably put the headlight back together actually, because there's this bucket does have the nuts kind of welded in, so that's kind of nice. Oh, the bucket is not an OEM style, but okay. So these, nothing more, and this is a genuine Kawasaki brake light switch. So it's nothing more than the blue wire goes to the blue wire, and the brown wire goes to the brown wire. Make sure they're all plugged in and nice. Everything's in good shape. That's all good. So now what we'll do here is we'll remove this bracket because we need to bend it. Now what I've done is I've kind of scribed some lines in it where I thought maybe I'd like to bend it. But I've decided that the best line is just going to be this big line right here is going to be the best one for this, because that lines up with the fork. So the fork will have the right angle on it, or at least the bend will be the same angle as the fork. I also had made my first 3D printing adventure, and these go around the fork, and they fit these brackets nicely. The brackets are way too big for this fork. I guess they're meant for an upside down fork. So I made these, and they worked out quite well. They just go here, and I got the sizing right, and all you have to do is just kind of line up the sides of it, and you're all set. So anyway, let's put a little bend in this, and the way we'll do that, let me move the camera around here, is on this vise we have a bending brake, and it's a magnetized brake, and then it's got the whatever you want to call this, the blade, and it goes on the vise, and it is a heavy magnet, and same here. And then here's the crevice it goes into, and put that in there. And it's a pretty good way to have a bending brake. So if you got a vise and you just need to do some nice little straight bends, this guy works really well. So all that I need to do here is take this and line it up on the line that I had already done, and just give it just a little bit. This doesn't need to be too much. And that is probably all that it needs, which is about right. So you can see there's just a nice little, very clean bend right in there. I got to clean this up and repaint it, but for now, that's just going to be about perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'll test it on the bike real quick. And we point in the right direction. There we are. Okay, so here's this. And, well, I think it could probably use just a tiny bit more. It was not much. Yeah, that's perfect. That gives it a nice flat. Yeah, that's just perfect. So these get cleaned up. This will get cleaned up and repainted. And then you don't need to see the other side. It's exactly the same thing. And but what we need to do now that we've got this here, we've already plugged in our brake light. So let's go on ahead and see if the brake light works. So what I think I'll do here is I'm going to remove the seat real quick. Make sure everything is, we're all plugged in the way we need to be. Yeah, looks like we are. Yep. Okay, we're all in good shape. All right, we can put the seat back on. Actually, we're going to be working on side covers. So anyway, I'm going to move the camera around to the back because I can't see the brake light. And I think I might be able to see that. Okay, let's get our keys back out. All right, and turn on the light. So we should have a tail light, which we do. And if I do this, I should have a brake light. And I do. Perfect. And, yep, we have brake lights. Perfect. So, I'm going to go clean up and paint. I got to clean up and paint this bracket, and I'm going to put it back on so the headlight isn't all flopping around. Then I'll do the other side, and we'll go on from there. And for painting, what we're going to use is this SEM Trim Black Ultra. And the Ultra in Trim Black means it's just really dark black. And this one is gloss. I've got the regular satin finish for getting a satin type finish, which is the most perfect finish you can possibly get for matching OEM stuff. But this is just nothing more than some gloss black, and it seems to go on pretty well. And I'm going to go on ahead and throw some on here. And I've cleaned up, and I've actually cleaned up this a little bit. It had some nasty looking stuff on it, so we're just going ahead and just give this a shot. Let me spray this first with something. We'll just take a piece of paper towel or something. Okay, good. I just need to see how it's going to come out. And so we'll just give it a blast. Boy, this is such good paint. And it just instantly nice. No crappy mess. No bubbling, no weird stuff. It's just nice. And it dries nice and quick too. And that's good enough for now. I'll do the other side just like that, and put the headlight back together, and we can get started on the side covers. So one of the first things I did is I just cut out a piece of cardboard, which is generally the right shape for a side cover over here. Nothing fancy. It's just enough to cover up the electronics on this side and the battery on this side. So there's a bracket down here that I could use, that I can bolt to, but I'm going to have to weld another bracket or something in here for the front of it. But so then what I did is, after I got this taken care of, I went on ahead and I cut out some plastic. And this is just some plastic out of an old, actually it's a water softener that we had replaced, and it had nice hard plastic case. So it's a good reminder to never throw anything away. No matter what your wife says or your husband says or whatever, who's ever you're working on, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you have, and that's for the ladies, don't throw anything away, ever. Bad, bad, bad. Because you never know when you're going to need it. And in this case, we need it. So this one I cut out a little bit. I cut a little extra off because what was happening is the seat has to tuck inside here. So the only thing that I need to do here is, once this is in place, I need to get a bracket that will hold this in place where it needs to be. Now, it could be that this is just still a little tall, and I may have to do a little, I can heat it up and bend it, but this has to be relieved like this, and I'll get the bracket on there, we'll put a screw in it, we'll tap it, and get it in place, and once it's all that, we'll radius the corners nicely, and then we'll go on ahead and we're going to try and cover this. It doesn't mean it's going to work, and I don't even know if I have enough, I think I do, but this is carbon fiber wrap, and it should look pretty good. So we'll see how this goes. So first things first is, I have a screw, which is, these are basically, the screws that I'm using are these chrome big head screws that came off of a Yamaha, I believe. But anyway, I already have tapped the hole in here, because I basically was working on it a little bit, and when I was recording, like many times before, somehow the recording got corrupted. But that's all right. You don't really need to see me tap screws. So the first things first, we'll go on ahead and just tighten this up a little bit. Okay, so let me get the camera into a better position so you can see what I'm seeing. And we're just doing this as we go along here. There's no major plan quite yet. Okay, so what I've done is I've screwed it into here. I've got, this is tapped. This seems to follow this line fairly well. And so what we need here is a bracket to hold this in place. And there's the rectifier is kind of pushing up against it, so I can't really get too crazy. So what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to put it in at a kind of an angle so that it can screw in fairly easily, and I can always bend it around a little bit, but then I may have to trim this down just a little more so it fits inside, but it shouldn't be too bad. So what I've got to do is go get something to make the bracket out of. And I've got this piece of 1/8" strap. See if I can get it in the camera view. Let's get the camera where you can see things. I've got a piece of 1/8" strap. And I think I can either go this way with it. I think I'm just going to cut, 1.5 inches or so. 1.5 inches, and that should be enough to cover everything. And if I have to cut it doesn't hurt for it to be a little long. So I'll go do that real quick. And the bandsaw makes short work of that. So this guy is going to go something like that. Okay. I'll mark that. That's about where I want it. Yeah. Okay. Get a marker. And I use these long nib markers. They've got a very long tip on it, and this one's white, and that makes it really easy when you're using, doing stuff with black parts, obviously. So I'll just take this and I'll mark it. I'll mark it, and that'll give me a basic idea where it goes. Okay. And we'll get this guy off of here. Now eventually this will have a rubber mount in it, but for right now I need it to hold tight, so I'm not putting the rubber mount in it quite yet. So what we need to do here is we got to get ready for a little bit of welding. And so what I want to do is this guy needs to sit about like that. And that gives it a nice V to weld into without having to do much any grinding or anything like that. All they need to do is clean this up a little bit, clean this up a little bit, and we'll be all set. So let me do that. And all I've done here is I've radiused off the corners just a little bit, so it's nice. It looks nice when even though it's covered up, and that'll work well. That hard part is going to be holding it in place. But what we'll do now, I'm just going to take a Dremel and I'm going to clean up the paint on this. And the paint I use is not cooperating. So I think what I'm going to do is a little bit, get something different here. What do we have? Maybe I'll just use a file. That's probably the best thing to use. Just a nice flat file. And I can go on ahead and get this cleaned up so the weld won't make a bunch of nastiness going on in it. Yeah, it's working well. Paint off of there. And again, the hard part's going to be how I hold that whole thing in. Maybe I can use a pair of vice grips or something. I don't know. But I got an idea. Well, I do have an idea. Maybe I can do it this way. Get a pair of these guys here, and if we can go around the frame, yeah, and then I can hold it, tack it, and it'll be okay. That might work. We will see. Okay. The problem is with these, is it doesn't really allow me to, well, maybe it is going to work. Yeah. It's not tight, but it's good enough for me to tack. So, what I'm going to be doing here is the first thing I have to do is get our MIG welder. We use a MIG, and when I say MIG, I mean MIG because a lot of people say MIG, but this is not a flux welder. This is gas. Now I need to be able to ground this thing. And I think the best place to do that is everything's painted. Yeah, let me try this. Yeah, that should do it. That should be good enough. All right, now I got to go turn on the gas, get my helmet ready. Well, I'm using an auto darkening helmet. The MIG welder is a yes welder, and it's the thing works really, really well. And I've turned on the gas. I think I have. Oh yeah, okay, I got it. All right, good. Now, what I need to do is carefully, without losing everything and knocking over this, we're just going ahead and tack this guy in. That did that. Get this out of the way. Maybe. Come on, you can do it. There isn't. There. Okay. Just get this thing welded. Let me get a little more. Okay, we are welded. Turn off the gas. And always remember, whenever you're welding and you're using gas, first thing you do is turn off the gas before you do anything else, because if you leave it on, you might end up with it all leaking out, and that's expensive. Weld up, hung. So now we're welded, and it looks like we're in pretty good shape. We've got a decent weld on it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's okay. There's a little small little blob right there, but that's okay. It's not hurting anything. And we should be able to just go on ahead and we'll buff it off. No grinding necessary. Kind of doing it when it's hot, and that allows it the paint to kind of come off. And so that needs to cool, and then we'll put on a quick coat of paint after we tap it. But this guy's going to go here, and then it will hook into that. And we can, now that it's pretty solid, not pretty solid, very solid, we can go on ahead and I can bend this. Make sure you can see. Yeah, I can bend this down to where it needs to be. This is really super solid. Still a little warm. Not a little warm, a lot warm. So the first thing that needs to happen here is we'll get our side panel mounted where it needs to be. Okay, nice and tight. We got this lined up about where we want it. And this is still kind of cooling down, but what I can do is get ready to drill for a 6mm hole. And drilling for a 6mm hole, the right size clearance hole, not for tapping, but the right size clearance hole is 1/4 inch. And I'm using a 1/4 inch cobalt bit because I like the cobalt bits because they just seem to, they last longer and they hold up better and they just seem to work pretty well. So this is lined up where I want it. This is lined up where I want it. Our bracket is in place and I'm going to go right about in the center of it. And I'm just going to drill my hole. Okay, so with that there, I'm still lined up, and then I'm just gonna dimple the other side, and then we'll. Yep. Okay, now we're gonna make sure it's in where we want it, and that looks pretty good. All right. Then we can remove this. Then we need to drill this for a 6mm tap. So let's do that. And I guess I'll show you the hole tapping operation here. So what we're going to do is, I have a chart up here, and I can go look up the correct tap drill for a 6mm. I don't know if you can see this, but we'll see how it goes. And you have the let's see, 6mm is right here, and it says that we need about a 15/64. Okay, we can do that. So now, if you look here, this is a complete set of cobalt drills and 15/64. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think I got that. Oh no, tap drill chart. Sorry, I got the wrong one. I looked at the wrong one. Okay, so to get the right tap drill, we go down to the tap drill chart. Our tap size is 6 by 10. Let's see if we can find that. 15/64, 8mm, 6mm by 1, and 6mm really comes in by 1.0 threads per millimeter. Our drill size is the number 10, so we'll go down here to our drills, and we'll grab another number 10. Okay, so now we need to go in, and here is my collection of the way I organize taps. And so these are American taps, and here is metric. So all I do is I just go over here, and I know the 6x10, and we'll use this tap. Piece over here, and if I need to cut new threads, or if I need to just clean up threads, we can go over here to that. And so what this is, this drawer is basically for threading, and I can go in and put my nut shirts in with this. This is all just taps and dies in one drawer, and it makes it a nice, easy way to keep everything handy when you need to do it. You're not fooling around looking for stuff. Okay, so we've got our tap drill. Get the camera aiming back at this thing, and hopefully it's cooled off enough by now. Oh, much better. Okay. Okay. So we've set up our drill. We've already dimpled that using the other drill, so it should be in the right spot. And we're just going to drill our way through. All right. So we drilled through. This is a really hard piece. Okay, and then what we use, we'll take a drop of tap aid. I've got a big can of it over there, but I'll keep one handy over here with a little needle oiler. Throw a little bit on that. And we'll just tap our way through this cookie. Okay, once you feel it grab, then you can take it and you get it to grab a little bit, go, be careful, and then back it up a little bit, and that's called breaking the chip. And breaking the chip, tap is in there, it's about 90 degrees. You turn it in, and let's see if I can move the camera a little bit to where you can see. Okay, so so now you take it, you turn it in, and you give it some good pressure so it starts to cut threads. And even though this isn't very deep, but you still need to do this. See, get it to cut threads. And once it starts to cut and it feels like it's starting to grab a little bit, you just back it off and you break that chip. And you'll feel it break. And then you can tap a little more. And I got to be real careful. Just don't overdo it. A tap can be very easily broken, and you don't like breaking. They're no fun to dig out. And so be careful and break that chip. And if you break the chip by rolling it backwards, you're doing yourself a big favor. Because as soon as the tap starts to bind and you break that chip, the tap can go forward. So gently, we're going to work our way in. And again, like I said, this is a hard piece of metal, and we just don't want to be breaking our tap on that guy. And I'm going just a little bit at a time, just in maybe even an eighth of a turn, but it's worthwhile to just be careful. Roll it in, break the chip, roll it some more, break the chip. And eventually, it will come through. And you can feel when it starts to bind, just go on ahead and break that chip. And here we go. And we have successfully tapped our hole. And we should be able to take a 6mm screw and roll it right in there. And there we're doing it just by hand. Just perfect. So now what we can do is we will go on ahead. Now let me clean this up a little bit. We got a few Get our tap cleaned up. And then we'll go on ahead and put that away. Okay, now what we'll do is we can put a screw in here. You gotta go find some I'm waiting for the now that the compressor stopped, we put in our bottom screw, and now we can go on ahead and here's our top screw. Get it started in the right direction here. There we go. And we'll see how we did. Okay, now the one issue that we have here at the moment, it seems, is that this is kind of aiming, it's kind of sticking out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, because everything is welded up so solidly, there's no problem at all with me bending on this thing at all. I'm going to take this and I'm going to grab a crescent wrench. And your basic crescent wrench. And I'm just going to grab this thing and give it a bit of a twist. And again, we got a super solid weld, so it's really not an issue getting that. Now we'll go on ahead and we'll put this back and we'll see how that goes. Okay. Well, that's not terrible. What we're going to end up doing here, though, is we're just going to heat this up a little bit, and we're going to just roll this in. Yeah, there's something behind here, and so we just need to take this, and we'll just do that right now. We have a heat gun right here. Okay, so now we just kind of adjust it where we want it, and we got it. It's done. Now we have a nice clearance here. It's all nice and even along here. We can radius this corner so it looks nice. Straighten all this up, and we'll get this done, and then we're going to go on ahead and I'll do the other side. It's exactly the same thing. I've already welded in the tab over there. I'm going to do a little tapping on that side, get the other side on, and then we'll go on ahead and wrap these things. Okay, so now we have fabricated our side covers. They're nice and solid, looking really good. Need to radius this a little bit, make it look nice. We'll radius these corners here, and then we're going to put some wrap on it. We'll go look at the other side. The other side's a little less complicated, but here it is. We'll radius this corner. Got nice straight up and down here. Seat comes off the way it's supposed to. No problems at all with that. And it's tight and locked down. So everything works good. A little cleanup, and then we'll get to wrapping this thing. It should be interesting. Okay, well, we're back. I have radiused all the corners pretty well. And they look okay. Not going to be perfect. Got most of the cutting excess off. So now it's time to figure out if we can use this wrap. Okay, so here it is. It's got a backing on it. It's got a protective coating on it that gets peeled off after you get that all done. But what we need to do is make sure that we can fit. And we want to keep the grain in the same plane. And it looks like we're going to be in good shape. I think I'll slice it right down the middle of that. But we're just going ahead and make sure. Okay, I know where I'm at. Okay. The thing we want to do here is get it clean. So we're just going to take some spray away here. Yeah, spray away glass cleaner. This stuff I get at Home Depot. Everybody gets it. And everybody seems to love this stuff for cleaning, and it does a good job of cleaning stuff. It really is. It's good for, if you're just going to be painting something, give this a shot. Give it a shot with this first to get it clean. It really does a good job. And it's a good window cleaner. It really is. But we need to clean both sides because when we wrap it around, it's going to be, it's going to have to stick to both sides. So we just get all the junk and stuff off that we can. Get everything as clean as we can. And I'm no expert at this by any means. I've done one little thing and it worked pretty well, but we're pretty much learning side by side here. If you're watching this, that's what we need. That's what we're here for, to learn. I'm learning too. A lot of the technical stuff working on the bikes is easy for me. I've done it for so many years. I worked in dealerships for a dozen years, and did nothing more than was a motorcycle mechanic, race motorcycles, have always had motorcycles, and been to many a factory school. So working on them is easy. Doing the videos is tough. And stuff like this, I'm not a great painter or anything like that. I can get by, and I do. That's just about it. So now what we're going to do here is, I guess, is just kind of orient this thing on there and peel off the back and stick it on. Because we're clean at the moment. Make sure we're clean. I guess. And this stuff, this carbon fiber wrap, I know is pretty good thick stuff. It really is good stuff. I've dealt with this before, and I got to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. Okay, yep, I got to use this guy. Okay, this guy. All right. We want this guy here, about like that, up. As good as that one's going to get. All right. Well, actually, it can come down a little bit. Yeah, let's get it. That'll be it. Okay, now, so to use this wrap, okay, so we've got this. And what you do is you peel off this protective back here. Actually, what I need to do is get this thing a little more in. I got a little too much on all sides. Okay, we'll make it a little more manageable. And this guy will cut here. Okay, and we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's a little more manageable. Now let's see if I can get this protective coating off. There we go. Now that comes off. All right, so now what we need to do is just, well, actually, this being so flat, we probably don't have to do much of anything to get it to look right. Get the bubbles out of it, and there's a few, so let's roll over one side. So we got that done, and then that will be where we start from. And we can just take the heat gun and do our thing. But this, so far, is doing pretty well. And we'll just use a plastic scraper here. And I'm going to peel back up. Let's see if I can get these bubbles out. Nope. Not quite ready for prime time yet. Yeah, that scraper's not doing us any favors either here. Push the bubbles out this way. Yeah, not bad. Well, not too bad if I do say so myself. So here we are. A nice freshly wrapped side cover. And let's put it on the bike and see how it looks. And that wrap was, again, fairly easy to use. Let me get in the camera. Fairly easy to use. Wrapped around nicely. No big bubbles or anything. And nice. Okay, good. So how does it look? We'll put our seat on. All right. That looks fantastic. It came out perfect. It's exactly what we needed. Got a nice, this needs some sort of emblem on there, maybe 400 or something to break it up. But other than that, it is dynamite. Covered up nicely, not too intrusive, not sticking out in your face. It's just kind of dark and nice, and we'll put something on there. We'll find a 400 or something to put on there. So I'll do the other side, and we'll be done with that. We are finalizing our KZ400. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is taking a look at what it looked like when I got the bike, and then we'll take a quick look at what it looks like now, and then we'll take it for a test ride. It needs gas, and so we'll take it down to the gas station, take a quick ride on it, see how it sounds. I'm using a different camera this time, which should be a little bit better for sound. A GoPro doesn't have the wind noise problems that this other camera I was using had. So we'll do that, and we'll go from there. So let's go on ahead and take a look at what this bike looked like when we got it from a previous video. Well, let's just have a look around our KZ400 that we're going to be building into a street tracker, cafe racer. We don't know exactly what it is, but as we look around, somebody has gone over this thing with paint everywhere. Just paint the spokes, paint the rims. Somebody has, and it doesn't show up very well on camera, but what's happened here is they have gone over everything with a wire brush and left a nasty texture that's going to take us a long time to bring it back to normal. It does not look good. I think we can lose the custom seat. The tank will probably be replaced with something different. Not sure quite yet. The carburetors are in a box, and they are not in great shape. Pretty much the same as everything. Front wheel, same paint on everything, just spray over the top of everything. The forks look good. They're not pitted. For the most part, they're in pretty good shape. This is a cheaper version of the KZ400. It doesn't have an electric start or tach, but we will probably be replacing that with an electronic unit of some form. These handlebars are going to go. They'll be more of an upright street tracker style. Again, the engines on the KZ400s have been notorious for leaking. We've got a brand new gasket set. We'll pull this all apart, get everything cleaned up, clean up those cases so that they look normal again. All the side cases are going to be polished. The tank, again, is probably going to be replaced. Again, more just ugly paint on everything. So maybe the next thing we'll do is apply paint stripper to all the places that don't need to have paint. And we will go on ahead and put the stripper on, and then we'll power wash it and see how much we have to do. That will probably save a lot of work from disassembly. Okay, so now let's go on ahead and look at what the bike looks like now. It's all cleaned up and ready to go. So I'll do a walk around and explain what we did. So let's go on ahead and go over what we've done to this bike. There's quite a bit. So starting with removing all the black paint that this bike was completely covered with. It was completely painted with flat black paint. The wheels, the forks, it had no front fender. All the triple tree, the whole frame, the rear wheel, everything completely painted black. So we have removed every single little bit of black paint. We have removed all the rust that was buried underneath all of that black paint. We have gone through the engine. We have taken it apart. We have rebuilt the top end. We've gone through the valves. We've gone through the carburetors. We've gone ahead and we've inspected the clutch. We've gone through the transmission, make sure everything is perfect in there. Obviously brand new oil filters, brand new oil, all the other things that go along with it. And thanks to one of my subscribers, we have installed an electric starter in this thing. So now it is an electric start bike, which it didn't start out in life as. We've now done our side covers. I put some Met400 emblems on it. It looks better. The carbon fiber worked out well. The rear wheel is all cleaned up. Nice. Brakes are in great shape. We've inspected all those. Brand new chain and sprockets. Brand new tires. Everything has been cleaned up. Shocks have been cleaned up. They're in actually fairly good shape. All the foot pegs are all cleaned up and nice. All the rust removed from them. Cables have all been cleaned up and lubricated. Some of them were in pretty good shape. Everything is good on the front brakes. Again, new tires. We've painted the tank. We created our own seat base here. We made a seat from scratch with nothing more, completely from scratch, all the sewing and all that stuff, and it's really starting to, all the wrinkles are starting to go away. We have pretty much completed it. We took it for a shakedown cruise. Oh, we also took the original speedometer and then I added a smaller tack. We'll see how that goes as far as the tack is concerned. New handlebars, these really cool little fold-up wing mirrors. These things are neat. You just take them and you have wings now, if you want it to look that way. Then you have mirrors. And, of course, new grips. We've made sure that all the cables and everything are all nice. Everything is working well. Brake lights all work. All the electronics are working. Everything is in good shape. The motorcycle, of course, we put brand new fork seals in it and fresh oil and all that good stuff. So that's all cleaned up. We've left nothing. We're going to set the tire pressures and go maybe take this thing for a ride. So we'll be back. And now it's time to go out and take a test drive. We'll get it off the rack and send it on out, get it outside, and we will go on ahead and take it down to the gas station and give it a bit of a ride. Okay, so now for our first maiden voyage here. Best thing to do is we're going to take it down to the gas station. Get a little gas in it, and that should be a pretty good ride. Hopefully everything goes okay. So, here we go. Choke. Gloves. Maybe. Where'd the gloves go? Yeah.
Well, that was a successful test ride. Got to do a little, I got to shim the neutral light, but other than that, this bike is done. Everything is looking nice. There's no apparent oil leaks anywhere. It runs fine as long as you turn on the gas. Everything seems to be in good shape. Speedometer's working, tachometer's working. It is looking really good. Now I will turn off the gas. And so this is, the middle position is off. Reserve is with the handle up, and on is the handle down. We'll make a few adjustments, but it's good to go. Great. Very happy. Looks wonderful.
Well, that was a completely successful test ride. That worked out well. We got some gas in it. I actually ran out of gas because I forgot to turn the gas on, but I cut that out. Anyway, we have gone through this whole operation of bringing the KZ400 back, and please remember that there is a complete set of videos that shows the transformation of this bike, from the forks, going through the transmission, rebuilding the top end, going through the valves, surfacing the heads, going through all the timing, going through all the different pieces to make this bike what it is. And it should be enough good information to help you build your next bike. It may not be all the things that you need, but it could be the stuff that a piece that you need. How to paint with a rattle can, how to seal up your engine properly, how to build the clutch, anything. So go ahead and check out those other videos. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe. And again, thanks for watching.